Hi, everybody. Welcome into today's show here on JTV. I'm David Rice. Thanks to the Insurance Circle Agency. Of course, Dave Rice's birthday yesterday.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Good. And we were also at Night Lights yesterday, the Christmas lights at MIS. We got an early
That's right.
sneak peek. Of course, media night is always earlier. So if you watch any of our other shows on JTV, see some footage of this year's lights.
That's right. And you get to, unfortunately, I don't have any good shots of me standing in the back of the truck as you're driving down pit lane, but
as I'm driving, fun. I should have taken a picture.
I went to go take a selfie back there, but I couldn't because my phone was still stuck in the car. I didn't realize.
Oh, well, at least nobody got hurt because going into it, I didn't even trust myself to drive the truck while you're standing on the tailgate filming.
You did a good job.
If bosses are watching, that was not OSHA. We apologize. We have a good weekend coming up in the NFL. There aren't that many good college games. I know Ohio State, Indiana, but there aren't a ton of good games. We only had one big one last weekend, but we do have the new playoff rankings that came out, so we will get to that. 4 new teams that were not ranked before the season or weren't previously last week are now ranked, and I'm looking at it, and I think 2 of them have not been ranked all year or before this year. So we will get to that. If you missed any of the high school football highlights from this last week, the regional finals, we'll show you those. And the Pro Football Hall of Fame came out with their semifinalist candidates, 25 of them, and we'll give you some of the names. Plus, we got live Jackson College basketball coming up next week on JTV, Tuesday night. So, speaking of college basketball, JC men's and women's, they play 2 games this week. First one tonight, Wednesday at Delta College, Saturday at South Suburban. The men's 1-3, and the women's have had a great start to the season, and they are 4-0. And then Spring Arbor men's are 5-1, and the women's team are 6-1. So a lot of good college basketball here locally. Spring Arbor men's and women's also play tonight, and then again Saturday. So pictures online at jtv.tv, and of course on next Wednesday's show we will share briefly a recap of the JC game from Tuesday. So we've got some good stuff coming up to end the year on the show. Some fun stuff.
Of course we got we'll have a Thanksgiving special, a Christmas special. We'll
Yep.
Do you want to announce what we're going to do for the Christmas special yet, or are we waiting to
I think we'll wait.
That's
well,
fine, yeah.
One part, we will have our top plays of the year from Pataki Orthodontics.
I've been excited for that. I've been waiting for that. So I'm
we're going to start putting that together soon. It's a very time-consuming process to go back and then rank all of them.
That's right.
But we will have that in the coming time. So, again, for more college basketball, go to jtb.tv and our daily scoreboard with stats and everything. High school volleyball happened last night. After Tuesday, we are down to no more teams here in the Jackson area, so that is it for high school volleyball in the Jackson area this season. The number 1 team in Division 7 in football, Monroe St. Mary, really beat up on Leslie last week, and Monroe St. Mary is also the number 1 team in the state in volleyball as well. And they played Hanover Horton straight sets over the Comets. So the Comets wrap up their season. That was at Ypsilanti Lincoln. Photos from Jeff Steers, who made the trek to Ypsi Lincoln, online at jtb.tv.
Well, thank you, Jeff Steers.
Yep. And we were there. He was at the Night Lights, too.
That's right. We heard about that. We didn't see him.
He was a busy man.
Yeah, he was there before us.
Yeah. I think all of them were there before us, and we didn't get there super late.
That's what's weird. I feel like we got there like right after they opened, but somehow we missed everybody.
If anybody that watches or works with us just happened to see Adam get in the tailgate when we got there, just keep driving past us.
That's right.
And then Concord fell in the 5th set. What a game that was, 15-5 in the 5th set over against St. Joseph Catholic, 3-2. St. Joseph with the win. So Concord is done as well. They finished the season 31-9-2, Big 8 conference title, district title, and a regional title. It was Hanover's first regional championship in volleyball since 1997. So a historic season for the Comets comes to a close. So for all the volleyball scores and everything as well, go to our daily scoreboard at jtv.tv. And with college basketball coming up and high school basketball about to get underway and the other winter sports, you can subscribe as well. I think now is a good time to subscribe before all the winter sports begin. That way you're caught up on everything, and you can subscribe to both of our local colleges here, Spring Arbor and JC. So subscribe, and I guess not just Lumen Christi fans, but anybody that watched Kari Willis or has heard of the name. He was on the Monday Mornings podcast too with Andy and Jen.
Yeah, that was a fun podcast.
Yeah. I started watching it. I have not watched the whole thing yet. I gotta finish watching that. Right after we're done here, maybe.
Hey, I like it.
So you can listen to that online and watch it on jtv.tv. Of course, he played 2 or 3 years in the NFL, retired, and is now in the ministry. So I never got a chance to cover Kari because I wasn't here yet. I don't think you did as well.
I was gonna say I didn't, but I at least had like an interesting perspective. So I came here right as I think maybe it was his second year on the Colts, maybe at that point. So it was cool to come here and everybody be like, if we're covering Lumen Christi, be like, you know who Kari Willis is? Like Kari Willis plays for the Colts. Like it was cool. It was really cool. So kind of an interesting perspective. So I didn't have all the high school stuff. I only knew him as an NFL player.
Right. So check that out on the Monday Mornings podcast presented by Southern Michigan Bank and Trust. They have a new location opening soon as well. So coming up also NFL Week 12. The Thursday night game will be atrocious. Don't watch.
What is it?
It's the Steelers and the Browns.
Well, Steelers, dude, have been lights out recently. Steelers have been playing great football.
Well, I know, but they're playing the Browns.
They're playing the Browns. Dude, I'd be so thrilled if the Browns beat the Steelers. I'd be so happy.
But that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen, though. I just need the Ravens screwed up. Why did they have to lose?
Do you have a bet on the Ravens? Or?
Yeah, they're with that Georgia thing where they have to win the division. So right now it's like Steelers, I think, have played.
They have to win the division?
Yeah.
The Browns already beat them the first time.
I know, that sucks. Why did they have to lose to the Browns? That's so dumb. The Browns are so
Watch
bad.
the Browns beat the Steelers, too, and somehow get up to second or third in the division.
I'd be thrilled if the Browns beat the Steelers, but I just doubt
they could get up to third depending on if Cincinnati keeps losing because they've been, their numbers have been good. Like, they've scored a lot of points. But they haven't won a lot of games.
It's the same problem that the Ravens are having. The Ravens have just won a couple more games than them, but it's like the Ravens, we talked about this last show, the Ravens offense has been awesome, but their defense has been so bad, historically bad for the Ravens. Because Harbaugh always comes out with a great defense, so it's weird.
And so does his brother, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And guess what? The two brothers going against each other Monday night in L.A.
That's going to be sick.
Ravens Chargers.
I can't wait for that. I'm watching that.
I might have to pick the Chargers in that game.
No, don't do that. I need the Ravens to win.
I might pick the Chargers.
No.
Jim Harbaugh's style of football.
It's fun.
Power and running. Yeah. That's my kind
But nobody
of football.
does it. Nobody does it better than Derrick Henry, though, man. Talking about power running. He's the king. He literally
Are you just
is
saying
the
that because he's also on your fantasy team too?
Well, that too, but he's my favorite player.
I actually don't know who to pick because Lamar is my fantasy quarterback. One of my two.
Yeah.
I started Jordan Love last week because I figured the Ravens were playing the Steelers, Packers against the Bears. The Bears suck. Obviously, the game went totally different than what I imagined. I think everybody did. And then the Ravens lost. So I don't know who to start this week because the Packers have the Niners national audience on Fox at 4:30 Sunday. And then the Ravens play Jim Harbaugh Monday night.
I'd have to start Lamar even against that defense. That defense has been playing
And
well.
because I have Zay Flowers too. So
double points.
I get double
dip.
points.
You get to double dip. I like that.
They score, but the defense is where it comes in.
Yeah.
So I don't care about the defense in that game. I just care
hope
about
it's
the
high
offense.
scoring. Yeah, just hope it's high scoring.
Right. That Thursday night against the Bengals was high scoring.
Ooh,
But I played against you in fantasy that week, so that's why I wasn't
Like
thrilled because you had Jamar Chase.
Like that
Oh,
Jamar
and a guy
Chase.
named Derrick Henry,
yeah,
too.
yeah,
So
pretty nice.
we'll talk more NFL. The Lions have another blowout win coming up against the Colts, who don't have a consistent starting quarterback.
Is it still Flacco?
They went back to Richardson this
Did they
coming week. They
really?
just announced they're
Did they
going
really?
back to Richardson.
What? Why? Why?
They flip flop every other week.
Yeah, that's not. God, that cannot be healthy for him, for a young quarterback to like. You don't know if you're starting.
The
every
thinking
week.
behind it, well, clearly they're not thinking, but obviously they're thinking of, okay, we just benched him, so let's start Flacco again. But Flacco's not been playing well the last 2 games, so thinking Richardson's going to come back and it's all going to turn around. Thinking that's a good idea.
I don't know, dude. I mean, we talked when they first benched Richardson. We talked about how it's like he had like that unbelievably low completion percentage, like historically low. And then I thought they were going to be kind of done with him for the year. But like I've talked to some Colts fans and they've been saying like
You talked to Colts fans?
I have weirdly enough talked to a Colts fan on the Bart Hawley show. And yeah, and he said that he was very upset and he was hoping that they would bring back Anthony Richardson, because it's like, why are we starting Flacco? It was like his big thing was just like, I don't care how bad our
I know
rookie's doing, he
Flacco's
needs
still
to
not
play.
playing good. I still think Flacco's playing better, though, than Anthony Richardson.
Flacco is elite. He's an elite quarterback.
He's not playing elite right
No,
now.
he's not. Well, no, and he's also, it's at the end of his career, but it's fun to see Flacco play. I always get
Yeah.
good memories seeing him out there.
I don't have it here, but at the end, I do want to touch on the Jets because there's been a couple of new reports that have come out over the last couple of days about the future of the Jets.
Yeah, and we were working yesterday when we got the notification, right? We were over at American One Event Center and we got the notification that
Yeah.
they fired the GM?
The GM.
Yeah, that's right.
So interim head coach, is the owner the acting general manager then? I don't know how that works.
How does that work?
So interim GM, interim head coach,
Interim quarterback? No.
pretty much interim team, really.
Yeah.
None of them showed up.
Do Jets win another game?
What during the break we'll have to check their schedule.
Yeah, because I'm just curious.
If they
'cause,
play New England,
it's true. Or the Titans.
or the
The
Dolphins,
Jags. Well, the Dolphins
division.
Would give 'em a little tough.
So
yeah, that's true. So they probably do.
um,
I just think the Jets. Why not tank at this point? Why try to win at this point when you're not going to get to the playoffs?
I've never been a fan of tanking.
I know,
I get
I know.
so I don't know what the right word is. I get so fired up in discussion when people talk about just tank the rest of the year. I get it for the
Yeah.
draft pick. Okay, but then it just brings down the whole team at that point because it's like, okay, if you're, a regular player in the locker room and then, the GM or coach says, "Hey, we're just going to tank the rest of this year." That's just telling them, "Okay, you suck, so we're going to intentionally lose now."
Sure, but I'll make the argument that they already are. If you fired your coach and you fired your GM,
I think
all
this
partway
this
through.
particular situation's a little bit different. But
Mhm.
like a few years ago, I don't remember the team, or there's been a couple teams who basically tanked the whole season and said, "Well, we're just going to write off this
worked out for the
season."
Bengals. They got Joe Burrow, and then a year, 2 years later, they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, this year it's not working out for them.
Well, Joe Burrow's working out great for him, but the rest of their team isn't working. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I'll say that. I hate discounting Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is the number 1 receiver right now in all fantasy, and you could argue in the NFL.
In fantasy, not the NFL. But
Who's the better receiver than him right now?
I
I might take Chase over Jefferson
he's
right now, dude.
not. The Vikings have struggled the past few games.
Still like Jefferson though.
I still think overall in
I
these
get it.
past few years, Jefferson's got to be number
It's definitely
one.
those two. Like if you're talking,
And
it's those two.
before he went to the Jets, Devontae. Green
yeah,
Bay
I mean-
Devontae with Aaron Rodgers those last couple of years.
There's very few people that were better than him. Like when they play, and the only person I can really think of off the bat is like Julio Jones, Atlanta Falcons. Like there's not many people like we're talking that's how good I think Jefferson and Chase is right now that you can put them into the
Steelers, Antonio Brown.
Oh now you're hitting a soft spot with me.
I know. Well, it hit the soft spot for all of us cheeseheads when we talk about the last couple of years of Rodgers and Devontae.
You just had to throw it up there. It was like Calvin Johnson. You just had to throw it up there. You knew he was going to come down with it.
Yep. Good times. Didn't win a single Super Bowl.
Couldn't do it.
With Devontae.
Maybe if you guys, when you guys were facing Tampa Bay at home, maybe if you guys wouldn't have kicked the field goal.
Yes. But also before that, we had a guy on our defense who absolutely blows you-know-what named Kevin King, who sold it for us.
Yep.
And he let some no-name white guy named Scotty Miller just start catching balls all over.
Scotty Miller, man, that's a name. He was awesome.
Remember, he had that just only 2-game span where everybody was like, who?
Dude, he was balling out, man. Brady loved him.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll get to the NFL when we come back. Or later in the show. When we come back, we'll bring you some football highlights from the regional finals if you missed it. So stay tuned. Welcome back here on JTV. I'm David Rice. That's Adam. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency. Of course, if you missed it this last week, regional finals in high school football, we will be in Novi this Saturday. Lumen taking on Marine City in Novi, 1 o'clock. I know you'll be there. I'll be there. Noah will be there.
Yep.
So us three are
Josh
taking...
Brigette will be there. I just talked to Noah before. Josh will be joining us.
Oh, okay. Yep. Jeff Steers, I believe. So the whole David Rice Show and JTV crew will be there. But if you missed highlights from Lumen's big 42-6 win against Constantine this last Saturday, we were there. And then Leslie's tough loss to Monroe St. Mary. Great historic season for them. Here are the highlights on JTB if you missed it. Welcome back here on JTV. Again, you can check out more high school football highlights from this entire season online at jtv.tv. You can go back to week 1 under JTV Sports. And of course, that'll be, not to spoil everything, but part of our Thanksgiving special.
That's right.
Coming up. We'll be here on the holiday. We will be here, but we won't be here. Pretty much.
Yeah, you'll be able to still tune in and watch us. Get to watch us before the Lions game if you want. You know, the Lions get the
Thursday
win.
morning.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, you'll watch Green Bay beat the Dolphins on Thanksgiving.
I agree. As much as I don't like the Packers, I agree that will happen.
And then the next day, we'll be at Ford Field.
That's right. We'll have eaten a little too much food the days before,
At least Division 6 isn't on Saturday. Noah still thinks it's Saturday. Looked on
I
the
saw
website.
it on the schedule, and that's why I copied him because I thought he would have. But
no,
it's Friday.
I actually looked at the MHSA website.
And
It's Friday.
Okay.
At least we're not missing Michigan get stomped on by Ohio State on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, but we can watch Michigan make a bowl game against Northwestern after the Lumen game. Yay. Bring on the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yay.
NFL Week 12 coming up. We mentioned earlier Thursday Night Football, Steelers, Browns. Please don't watch that. That will be atrocious.
Unless you're going to root for the Browns, then that's cool. Ravens need all the help they can get.
So you're rooting for the Browns?
I have to because I need the Ravens to win the divisions, and Steelers are up on the division, so I need the Browns to Browns surprised the Ravens. Maybe they can do it with the Steelers. Nick Chubb running all over the place. I don't know.
No.
I'm trying.
No.
I'm just trying.
Lions will get another blowout win at the Colts.
In Indy, I don't know if it'll be. It won't be like the Jags, but I think we'll handle.
It could be.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see. I think you'll.
Because the Colts don't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
so.
it's on the road. It's gonna, you're gonna have to expect to score 30 points to beat the Lions. That's the only way you're really gonna beat them anymore. 30
And the
or 40
Colts are
points.
not
I don't
scoring
think the Colts
30
are putting
points.
that up. Yeah.
I didn't put the Giants on here, but Tommy Cutlets is starting now.
Tommy DeVito.
Yep. I thought they cut him, but he's starting, and the head coach Brian Dable said Daniel Jones is now the third string, and Drew Lock is now going to back up DeVito. So they're done with Jones for now.
I talked to you about this, I think, a couple days ago or something like that, or maybe it was somebody else. But do the Giants really believe that putting Tommy DeVito in that starting spot gives them a better chance of making the playoffs or winning? Let's just say winning in general.
I think so.
I don't think so at all. Daniel Jones is way more talented than DeVito.
Are you? I can't
serious.
tell if you're joking.
No, I'm
or
actually.
not.
You think Tom? If you were, back in school,
Yep.
and you can pick somebody
Uh-huh.
for your all-time quarterback, and it's either Tommy DeVito or Daniel Jones. And
Yep.
with Daniel Jones's rushing ability,
Yep.
you're still gonna take Tommy DeVito.
His rushing ability.
Yeah, he's got
What,
rushing
where
ability.
he can't run in the open field and he trips and falls?
Well, that was a mistake. He ain't Lamar out there. He ain't Mike Vick or Lamar. But still, I'm completely I would much rather have Daniel Jones as my quarterback than any Tommy DeVito or Drew Lock for that matter. I'd rather have a quarterback that has been in bigger situations than that. I could be wrong. In a few weeks, we can talk about how good Tommy DeVito is, but I don't think so.
Well, remember last year he started 2 or 3 games and they won one of them at least, if not 2 out of the 3.
Yeah, it just
and Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones.
Yeah, Jamarcus Russell won a few games too. It does, a lot goes
well,
into it. But I
Jamarcus
think,
Russell is
I know
Jamarcus Russell.
I know, but who would I rather have start? I would rather have Daniel Jones. His nickname's Danny Dimes for a reason.
Yeah, dimes to the other team.
Yeah, drops perfect throws right to the other team.
No, I'd rather start DeVito.
That's so crazy.
Because clearly Daniel Jones, even after you paid him, waste of money. Clearly he's not. He's awful. He sucks. Sucks. I'll just say that. Daniel Jones.
We need to play Madden and we'll both be the Giants. You start DeVito, and I start Jones.
No.
Why?
That one we won't show on TV then if we're both the Giants.
Oh man.
For multiple reasons why we won't have that on TV. Yeah. Be able to get through that game.
Yeah, that's true.
So and then the Niners at the Packers. Coming in, the Giants or not the Giants. I don't want to talk about the Giants anymore. The Niners are 5-5. Green Bay 7-3, of course, coming off the blocked field goal. It's still an interesting matchup to me because you still are playing against Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Bosa, probably 10 other names I'm forgetting, but they have struggled this year. They're 5-5. They haven't looked as much of like in their peak as they have in the past few years, but there is history between the two teams. If you look at the last few years, Green Bay's been right there against them in the playoffs, and then they screw it up with like 6 minutes left in the game.
This could be a trap game.
It is, absolutely.
And I'm not just saying that.
I'm nervous for this game. Yeah. I'm not confident it's a Green Bay win.
Yeah, I mean,
if the Niners come out and beat Green Bay like they have the last 8 times in a row, I wouldn't be surprised.
If I had to put my money on it, though, I'd put it on the Packers. But 49ers, though, like I think part of it's just they've underplayed. They've had some close games. They've had some injuries and stuff, and that's what led them to that record. If we went to the beginning of the season and you told me this game was going to be in this week, week 12 of the regular season, I'd be like, this is a huge game. Like both of these teams are probably going to be like, have only like 2 losses, 3 losses at this point. So it's pretty surprising to see that, like, one of them is 500.
Yeah.
It's the Niners.
And Green Bay's right around where I expected them to be, 7-3. Should be 8-2, but that's, Vikings loss.
Yeah.
And
Lions loss. Lost to Lions.
Well, that was just not a good game.
No. But you still got that next one coming up.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that game either.
Go Lions.
We have the Niners, and then Miami, Thanksgiving. Another Thursday after that at Ford Field, and then Seattle after that.
Wow, yeah, that's some big games in a row. I like it.
Seattle's not big. I ain't worried about Seattle. Because I know my brother's watching, so I ain't worried about him.
I like that.
Easy money. Sunday night, this will be an interesting matchup because I know the Rams are only, I think, 1 game now or 2 games above 500, and the Eagles are only 1 game behind the Lions, second in the NFC. The Rams have been playing well. They've won 3 out of their last 4 since they started out horrible, and Stafford's been looking pretty good. This isn't an easy runaway game for the Eagles. I was about to say,
out of all these games, this is screaming trap game more than any other game on this list for sure. Because it's like, dude, I could see the at home. I could see the Rams coming up with a win here.
Yeah,
as good as the Eagles have played, or good as their record is.
And I think the Chargers win Monday night.
Oh, I hope not. I hope the Ravens win. But yeah, that's a very tough game for the Ravens in LA.
Because the Ravens aren't gelling right now in all the phases of the ball.
Just the defense is my opinion. Sure, a couple of offensive players have made some mistakes, but that offense is still clicking. It's just that defense.
Right, but the defense is going to be the issue because the Chargers have scored a lot of points.
Yeah.
The Chargers scored 34 against the Bengals last week.
I feel like everybody's scoring 34 against the Bengals. Bengals, man, that defense is not
I know,
good.
but the Chargers did.
Right.
But so did the Ravens. You know what I mean?
Right.
The Chargers and Ravens are not on the same level. Shouldn't be. But here we are, and I think the Chargers, close, get this at home Monday night.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Ravens have the better offense. Chargers have the better defense.
Yep.
Chargers have the better team. I know that sounds crazy, but I think the Chargers are a better team than the Ravens this year. Just because I want to be balanced.
Agree with that.
I want to be balanced, and this team, all that I've seen so far is not
Especially
balanced.
when you get into those, big division games, the week 17 or 18 games, playoffs.
Got to have your defense play hard.
You got to have the defense. Yeah. We know the offense is going to be there because Lamar's the MVP. debatably. And Derrick Henry's the offensive player of the year, debatably.
I think that one's a little closer. I think that one's probably going to happen. I think Josh Allen has a chance to win MVP.
Yep. I think both of those are debatable.
Yeah.
But the defense has to show up. You can't just
For sure.
rely in that time of the year on one side of the ball. So, and that's why I think the Chargers take advantage of it. And, of course, Jim Harbaugh's style, you know how he loves running the football and the blocking. That's, something the Ravens have struggled with is defense. So when you play against hard-nosed type football like Jim Harbaugh does, rolls with, it's tough for the Ravens. It's going to be a really good game Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm excited to watch it.
And then Sunday night, again, Rams close.
You'll give it to the Rams on Sunday?
Rams close.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, that's probably a safe choice. Eagles, Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown. I don't know. I don't.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah, I don't like. I would not trust the Eagles. I think that's a trap game written all over it.
The new college football playoff rankings came out Tuesday night. Oregon number 1, Ohio State number 2, Texas 3, Penn State for some reason is still at number 4, Indiana number 5. Alabama went up from number 10 to number 7 this week. Georgia up from 12 to 10 after they beat Tennessee. Army all the way up to 19
Look
now.
at Army. Look at West
And
Point.
Tulane at 20.
Man.
West Point Bar and Lounge.
No. Well, yeah, love them, but no, I'm talking about West Point Army.
Army at 19, Tulane at 20, Colorado at 16.
Wow.
More and more people now are talking about Colorado. Can they sneak in the playoff?
Oh, I bet you the committee would love that. I bet you everyone would love
With
that.
Coach Prime and 2 top 5 draft picks on the team.
You want him in the playoffs without a doubt.
Yeah.
You want him in there.
But if they lose one more game, the Big 12 championship, when they play BYU, or
they got to win that, obviously, yeah.
If they don't win the conference, they're not in. I don't think they get in at large.
Right.
So
that's going to be safe for an SEC or a Big Ten school.
Right. Only 2 conferences where that happens.
Yeah.
4 new teams that were not ranked previously are now ranked. Arizona State at 21, Iowa State 22, UNLV at 24, and Illinois 25, who was ranked obviously earlier this year when they beat Michigan. And I come back to this point because they talked about it on the ranking show a few weeks ago. If you're Texas, you're at number 3. Earlier this year, you had the win against Michigan, who at the time was ranked, I think, 9 or 10. Texas was number 1 or 2. At the time, that was a huge win on the resume. Looking back now, that win meant nothing.
Right.
So how do you factor that in as far as, is Texas better than Ohio State or Oregon? I mean, not Oregon, but are they better than Ohio State or Penn State? Because sure, their wins were good at the start of the year, but now it's like the resume wins unranked Michigan, unranked this, unranked that.
You got to look at that at the end of the year. To me, you got to look at that towards the end of the season because sometimes you don't know how these teams are going to be until the end of the year. Like Michigan at the start of the season, people are like, they still have a chance to win the Big Ten championship this year. Don't count them out. And then it's just like, yeah, you can count them out.
And now we're going to be playing for a Pop-Tart Bowl or the Mayo Bowl.
Hey, don't disparage the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Duke's famous Mayo Bowl.
I hate mayo.
What? Come on. The Cheez-It Bowl? The Pop-Tart Bowl?
That's my favorite snack in the world, Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its? Have you ever tried the toasted Cheez-Its?
Those are my favorite, the extra toasty.
Also, the white cheddar ones are really good.
Yeah. But if they make the Cheez-It Bowl, we just might have to get some media passes to that game.
Yeah, I've got to cover the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yeah. Can they pay for us to fly down to the Cheez-It Bowl?
That'd be awesome.
So the 12 teams, and I just saw an updated mock draft earlier, by the way. Speaking of college, Shedeur Sanders 1, Travis Hunter number 2, Cam Ward 3, Ashton Jenney 28.
Dude, like anybody could draft him is what they're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take him. Well, we don't need him, but I mean, it'd be awesome.
Gibbs,
I know.
Montgomery, Ashton Jenny.
Oh, don't get me started. That'd be so sick. But yeah, obviously we don't need him.
Because Jenny's a lot bigger than both of them. Can he play fullback?
Dude, yeah, let's start running a fullback in there too.
Yeah. If Jim Harbaugh takes him, he'll play fullback.
Oh my goodness. Imagine him in a Harbaugh offense. Holy mackerel.
And then it had Colston Loveland, I think, at 25 or 4.
I saw him right around there.
Will
yeah.
Johnson at 11.
He should probably go higher. He should be top 5.
But he's been hurt.
Yeah, that's...
We haven't heard from him
Yep, you're right.
since before the Illinois game for Michigan. That's how long he's been out for.
Also, if I was him, I wouldn't chance it too much. I wouldn't come back early and risk getting hurt before the draft.
Yeah, draft, Senior
With
Bowl.
this team being where it's at right now. You know.
Right. Because Michigan's not playing for anything
Right.
other than pride,
Right.
if they have any of that either.
There's not much of that left either.
And that mock draft had the Raiders the number 1 pick. Right now, actual standings, the Giants have the number 1 pick. Do they take?
I think whoever's first will take a quarterback. Unless it's some really weird team that we're not expecting right now. If it's the teams that are kind of floating around there, I would expect a quarterback to go first.
What if the Jets keep losing?
I would take a quarterback because
Shadur, because
Aaron
people have been
Rodgers is only
talking
gonna be
about
around.
Shadur and Prime New York, but nobody's thinking the Jets of New York, and they're thinking the Giants.
Right. Yeah, and that would kind of tie into our conversation earlier about if the Jets win another game, because if they lose out, you could potentially see that happening.
Now, the Vikings won't be super high in the draft order, but I saw this earlier. This was interesting. What if, Sam Darnold does not stay in Minnesota because the way they started out really hot this year, he's really had an okay season still, even though they've struggled the past few weeks. Sam Darnold will want to get paid to an extent. He'll want to get paid. Minnesota won't want to pay him because J.J. McCarthy will be back next year.
Yeah.
But if J.J. still, they want him as a backup for a year when he's back healthy, this person said, okay, what if Minnesota were to take somebody in a high pick like that? And
You just took McCarthy.
I know, and that's what made it weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
But what if Minnesota were to take a quarterback, though, or make a trade for one? McCarthy sits another year.
Now that I would expect maybe it to happen a little bit more.
Because this person was saying this should only be a 1-year gap quarterback. Like, it's only a 1-year deal.
You know what I would love to happen? I would love for Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback of the Vikings.
That's who it was. I remember that.
Is that what they were
saying?
saying?
They were talking about, Rodgers.
You know how funny that would be for him to go on the exact same path that Brett Favre went on, to go from the Packers to the Jets to the Vikings. That would be the funniest thing to happen. And
Will Rodgers also throw a pick to Tracy Porter, too, in the playoffs?
He will in the NFC Championship game. He'll do that for you.
But I don't know. I think Rodgers retires after this year. So if he doesn't play for the Jets one more year, I don't know how
I was going to say, he might give himself one more year just because, man, this season kind of sucked. So he might see.
But clearly, it ain't getting any better.
No.
So we're going to stay on the topic of football when we come back. Semifinalist candidates for the Football Hall of Fame. Some big names on here.
I'm excited to hear.
So we'll talk about that and Jackson College basketball coming up on JTV. Welcome back here on JTV. I'm David Rice. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency and Pataki Orthodontics. So the Football Hall of Fame class of 2025, it's between 4 and 9 people that get in, depending on how many votes. The 25 semifinalist candidates were just released. So I have 12 of them here. I'm going to give the names to you. You have not read these papers
I have
yet.
no idea. I'm excited to find out who could be inducted this year.
Okay, first one ready?
Mm-hmm.
Anquan Bolden.
Oh, my goodness.
That's an interesting one.
Former Lion. Anquan
Yep.
Bolden.
Antonio Gates.
Of course.
James Harrison has to get in.
Yeah, he's got to get in.
This one, I don't know. Rodney Harrison.
I would have to see his numbers. But I think he'll probably get in. You're on TV, you get in. It's weird, but it's true.
So that's why Tom Brady's going to get in?
Oh, that won't be why.
Luke Kuechly is the next one.
Man, I would love to know his stats because for a while I thought he was like the best player in the NFL.
Right, but he only won a couple playoff games as a Panther. They made the one Super Bowl, but lost to the Broncos defense that carried them that year.
He was so good, man. He was so good.
Speaking of Manning, Eli Manning, obviously going to get in.
Don't know if he'll get in this one. This might not be the one he gets in.
You don't think he gets in right now?
I don't think he'll get in on his first ballot. We'll see.
Has to.
Does he?
I
This is
think
an interesting
so.
debate. This is a very interesting debate because I don't know.
From the Ravens, Steve Smith.
Steve Smith gets in this year. And his speech will be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Calling it right now.
Will it be like a Jelly Roll type speech? You know, Jelly Roll
He'll-
gets up on stage
Yeah.
every time he wins an award.
Yeah.
I want to tell
Yeah,
you
I want to tell you.
that
This
the
is for
mirror
the-
in front of you
Yeah.
is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason. Let's party
Yeah.
tonight.
This is for that guy in trying to live
Under
out of a
the
gutter.
overpass.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Steve Smith, he'll like cut like a WWE style promo on like everybody he played against. That's what I say.
Okay, next one, Terrell Suggs,
Suggs gets in. Suggs is awesome. He's one of my favorite players ever.
the GOAT of kicking, Adam Vinatieri.
He needs to get in on this first ballot. That's my argument. A kicker has to get in on the first ballot, and he deserves it out of anybody.
Okay, who do you think?
He's
Well,
the best kicker of all time. He is. He's best kicker. Best kicker. There's never been a kicker that's been in more big time situations that has delivered than he.
I think second, Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker's only kicked in one Super Bowl. That's the only reason I can't.
I
I just
know.
can't. Go with it.
But I still put him second.
Yeah, I could put him second. I would say Morton Anderson was pretty freaking good as well.
Yep.
Which that was before our time, so you only see so much stuff. But he was just the guy.
No, I wouldn't put this guy third, but Jason Hansen, Matt Prater.
Jason Hansen, you would love to see him get into the Hall of Fame one day.
Not gonna happen.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
I just don't think so.
Hines Ward, next player.
I really would like for him to get in. Well, I wonder if he'll get in first.
Two more names here.
Okay.
Reggie Wayne
Mm-hmm.
has to.
Yeah, he's first ballot.
And everybody's favorite big lineman, Vince Wilfork.
Will Fork doesn't get in. I don't think he gets in now. He might get in later, but I don't think he gets
In about 20 years when
Yeah.
they run out of names.
I think so I wrote down the ones that I think will be in.
Okay, out of 12, I'm going to write these down. Actually, I don't have a pen. But out of the 12,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I got Antonio Gates, both of the Harrisons, Steve Smith.
You think Rodney Harrison
I think
gets
both
in?
Harrisons get in. Yep.
Well, I know James Harrison, but Rodney Harrison?
I think he does. We're going to see a lot of those Patriots going into the Hall of Fame over the next few years. A lot of those Patriot staple, those
Right.
staple players.
Julian Edelman, Gronk, Brady.
And I will say this isn't me doing this without looking at any of their stats. We'd be able to more kind of, and we've done this with
right.
Eli.
Because you didn't know any of these names till I just shared them.
So I didn't know that it was going to be these guys. But I would say Gates, both Harrisons. Eli will not get in this time, but will get in either next year or the year after. Steve Smith will get in this year. Vinny, Wayne, and Suggs. Will
I
all
thought
get in.
Eli Manning should have already been in.
This might be the first year he's up for.
Oh, eligible?
Yeah,
Okay,
this might
well.
be the first year. That's why I just don't think he gets in this year, but he will. He will. He will eventually.
Eli Manning. And then
Who to me out of these guys? So the guys I named. So Gates, both Harrisons, Steve Smith, Suggs, Vinny, and Reggie Wayne. Out of those guys, who do you think is the guy that is the headliner of the class? Because your Ray Lewis's and your stuff, in years past. It's funny because it's you look at that list and it's Antonio Gates would probably be the one, I guess. I mean,
Steve Smith.
oh, yeah, Steve Smith. I mean, his speech will be the best out of all of these, I would say. So yeah,
Right. Vinny. No.
you can't have as much as I
No.
would love to have a kicker, as much as that'd be for the brand, and I would love it. It's just
So Eli Manning, you think he gets in next year then?
I think he probably gets in next year. That's what I would guess. I would guess. You know, he doesn't have like.
How many years do you have to wait to be eligible?
It's a couple years after you retire. It's a couple years.
Because I was going to say, the first year Tom Brady's eligible, he'll be in. Unanimously. Has to be.
Not even a question.
But what do you think about the first year of Peyton Manning when he's eligible? Or Drew Brees?
How is Peyton? Peyton must already be in the Hall of Fame. How is Peyton Manning not in the Hall of Fame? That doesn't make any sense. Are we sure about that?
Eli only retired a couple years later.
Dude, I was still at school. He was inducted in 2021. That's what I thought. Peyton.
Okay.
I was gonna say because he retired. He did retire because like I was still at Grand Valley. This would have been like in 2015 maybe when he had that last game. So I figured it was like it's been quite a few years. But Peyton was in automatically. Eli is not that. That's my thing of why he's not in now. Is because Eli does not have the same impact on the game of football. What is the Hall of Fame? It's the players that made the biggest impact on the sport of football.
Oh, I agree.
These names
Peyton
have made
was a better player, made a bigger impact, but Eli was still such a good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if Joe Flacco had won a second Super Bowl, you would have to put him with Eli Manning. That's the only step.
As far as you're talking all time, like, I would agree with that.
But we're not talking about Flacco for the Hall of Fame. That's the weight that his last name and the weight that those two Super Bowls carry.
Yep. So I'm just gonna throw out real quick a couple other names here. When they're eligible for their first year, do they get in the first year? Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Okay. Drew Brees.
Yes.
Here's an interesting one. I'm making these up on the fly. I don't have these written down. Phil Rivers.
No. I don't think Phillip Rivers ever gets in the Hall of Fame. If he does, he'll be towards the end of his eligibility. He'll be older. But I think he'll eventually sneak in.
I think it's one of those players that's like close. Like you can make a case.
He just does not have the postseason resume that these other guys have.
Yeah. He did put the team on his back though. He tore the ACL. He put the team on his back.
That's right. I'd much rather have him if schoolyard football, I'd much rather have him over Eli.
Ooh.
Oh, dude, I cannot believe I did not think you'd like Eli this much. I'm kind of surprised.
Okay, and here's one more.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes.
He's first ballot right now. Right now. He's first ballot Hall of Famer. How about that? We'll get that argument going in the office today. First ballot Hall of Famer.
Right now, he's first ballot.
Right now. Yep. No doubt in my mind.
He has as many Super Bowls as Eli Manning.
Mm-hmm.
Right now.
Who would you rather have quarterback your team?
Looking at all time, Eli or Mahomes?
This isn't even a question.
I would take Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, I was going to say, that's not even a question, really.
Eli close second. People underestimate the two biggest games of his career. He beat Tom Brady.
Yeah, but he put up 14 points in one of those Super Bowls, I think. Like, his defense is what carried. And sure, he's against an all-time defense on top of that, but it was his defense. The story of that first Super Bowl, for sure. Sure, he had the game-winning drives, but the story of that first Super Bowl was how much they could get to the quarterback.
You can say that about Peyton Manning's second Super Bowl, too.
Oh, and I'm totally in agreement. He looked terrible that whole season,
Because he should have retired earlier. Let's be honest.
Hey,
he should have retired earlier.
He still got that one Super Bowl. He still had Papa John on the field with him, So, he still got it.
Jackson College will be there. I won't be there, but you guys will be there.
That's right.
Live on JTV this Tuesday. Coverage begins at 5:15 with the men's at 5:30, women's at 7:15. The women's team is undefeated, so really good.
Wow,
really good start to the year.
Yeah, good for them.
So check that out. And if you're already in the holiday spirit, live downtown Christmas parade.
That's right. Yeah,
this Friday will be live at 6 o'clock. So I will talk to you then here on JTV. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you Monday.